Proof B, she existed. Push open one of the paneled double doors leading into my bedroom, and you'll see, angled against the corner, a 19th century style dark wood bureau. I keep the box of my baby girl's ashes in the smallest top left drawer of that massive bureau. It's proof that she existed, although she never truly belonged to this earth. Some days I haven't wanted to belong to this earth either. My daughter's box is smaller than a carton of baking soda. Its wrapping is shiny, smooth, and off-white, not much fancier than butcher paper. I could open it to see the contents if I wanted to, but I don't want to. My daughter had been growing inside me for 6 months. We hadn't settled on a name yet. That's why she's known as Baby Girl, although my son calls her Melanie. She was a girl with spunk. She twisted and turned and was constantly in motion until she wasn't. In that drawer, I keep her memory box, too. A group of volunteer women at the hospital put these together for the babies lost there. The memory box holds a couple of white cotton hand-smocked gowns that the volunteer women made. They put one on my girl after I held her and stared at her, and then she started to cool, and I didn't want to hold her any longer. What was the point? But I did still want to hold her. I always wanted to hold her, but I let her go. I handed my daughter to the nurse, and she walked out the door. They took pictures of my stillborn baby girl wearing that dress and put those pictures into the memory box with the gowns. I wept when I touched the smooth fabric of those white smocks. I never got to choose a dress for my girl. I never got to slide the opening over her head, work her arm through a sleeve. My baby had edema, and the red tinge of her in the pictures reminded me of the trauma she suffered. She and I both went through a lot that weekend. The weekend we found out she had a growth in her chest that was pressing against her heart and lungs, the reason her movements had slowed to next to nothing. The weekend we learned that there was nothing they could do, that she wouldn't make it through the weekend. We found out her birth date and her death date would be one and the same. I stood on my knees on the hospital bed to push out my dead baby, and she dropped there on the mattress underneath me, looking more like she had fallen out a window. After we held her and they took her away, blood kept draining out of my body. Too much blood. I felt calm and relaxed as my blood pressure plummeted. A panicked nurse snapped her fingers in front of my glazed-over eyes and said, "Hey, stay with us here." My cervix was closing and the placenta was still lodged in my uterus. The placenta, the thing that was not really a part of her and not really a part of me, but that had connected us and nourished her and almost killed me, had to come out. I thought, let me live. Let me go home to my son who is alive. Let him at least be his mother if I can't be hers. The doctor reached her arm way up inside the tunnel of me and tugged firmly and steadily until the placenta emerged in her hand in one piece from inside that tiny hidden compartment of me. I realized that day that part of me was comfortable with the idea of leaving the earth the same day as my daughter. But the stronger part of me chose that day to stay, to live to tell the story to my son and show him the evidence of his sister's existence, to return to the room with the bureau. Open the bottommost drawer of the bureau and you'll see a rectangle of white paper the size of a name tag with the tiniest ink blot human footprints you've ever seen. They're about the size of a kitten's paws. Judging by the placement of her big toes and the arc of her soles, her right footprint is on the left side of the paper and her left footprint is on the right. There wasn't much that went according to plan that day. We couldn't seem to get anything right. It's been 10 years now, and I'm almost ready to throw out the memory box with the dresses I didn't pick out for her. I'm not ready to let go of her ashes yet, to release them to the earth, and I'll always keep her footprints, to me the most real reflection of her. When I pull open that tiny top left drawer and hold the surprisingly lightweight box of ashes in my palm, I'm reminded that someday my body will be gone too. Until then, my body keeps moving in the world, each of my feet stepping and pressing against the earth, as my daughters never could, until finally my daughter and I are no longer hidden out of sight in a drawer in a bureau. We are truly part of the earth. We belong. Thank you.